Hey guys, welcome to Vinny's Vibe, welcoming you to Catch the Wave. Today on our amazing podcast for this week, we have a very special guest, Mr. Eric Fundora from G J Gardner Homes. Say hello, Mr. Eric.
What's up, guys?
So Eric owns a home builder development in St. Augustine, Florida, but is obviously branching out, trying to work into St. John's and Flagler County, but has been doing it for a good amount of time, has been doing very well in that. Tell me a little bit about your business, Eric,
Yeah,
what you've been doing.
absolutely. Well, appreciate the invite. Always great to be with such a great individual like yourself.
No, man, you're the best, dude. Come on
And
now.
it's been a while since we've been thinking about having this podcast, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, a little bit into that actually. So Eric and I have been talking about the doing this amazing idea that never has been thought of ever in the history of man, and doing this incredible idea of what it is to do a podcast,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So this opportunity came on. Obviously thank Flagler Voice, for making
Yes.
this a possibility, and you know this has been something we've talked about a lot because we
Yep.
want to do something fun, something funny,
Absolutely.
finally have the opportunity to create like a really great episode. And
Yeah.
and it's just great to have you on, man.
Thank you, man.
So
Glad to
tell
be here.
so
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about like why you love podcasting, like what makes what
Oh, I
makes it
mean,
exciting.
what I like about it is original, originality.
Mhm.
We talk like this isn't rehearsed, right? We're
No,
just talking on the fly, like I say, on the fly productions.
exactly.
So we're talking on the fly and we're just, you know, spitballing. We're talking just normal stuff,
Right.
nothing pre-recorded or what have you, or not pre-recorded, but nothing's been done prior. So
Right.
that's why I like it. I get to interact with folks. We can talk about straight up issues and solutions and problems. And then just have fun while doing it and educating each other and all that. So
And it's a nice change of pace, right? I
yeah,
mean, I mean, from what we do on an everyday basis, like we're always planning, we're always trying to keep up with our schedules,
exactly.
with me and mortgage lending, and then you and doing custom build. Like, come on now, or
Yep.
like,
Yep.
like that is just the
It's yeah, it's a big animal to do, but just a little bit about me. I retired from the fire department after 23 years in
Mm.
Miami-Dade County.
And of
And
course, I'm sure we all say thank you for your service for everything you've
yeah, I
done, man.
appreciate it, man. It's been a long ride, a good ride, giving back to the community, public health, responding to people's emergencies,
Mm.
With that being said, I moved my family up to St. Johns County.
Hmm.
I actually thought about Palm Coast.
Wow, really?
Yeah, one of my chiefs moved to Palm Coast. I think it was back in like 2013 or something like that, and he actually volunteers for Palm Coast Fire Department as a
Really?
fire police. Yeah.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
great guy. And he's the one who kind of like even sparked the little idea of Northeast Florida.
So that's where you first got the idea of actually moving to Northeast Florida.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and he just
Okay.
kind of sparked the idea. But at the time, I was
Cool.
still like young and fired up about the fire department, and
Right.
I wasn't thinking about moving north.
How much did you enjoy the fire department, when you were
Mhm.
there in Miami-Dade though, in comparison to where, like right now, obviously, like you're kind of, dabbling a little bit, but you're doing a lot of this construction build stuff too.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about like when you were in the fire department, like some cool stories, like some things that you did, on the record.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's funny how everybody, and other firemen will say, "Yeah, exactly." When people ask, "Oh, what's the worst thing you've seen?" It's like that's the last thing we want to talk about.
Right.
But there
Right.
are some fun stories that I've
Right.
experienced, and a lot of them had to do with like, you know, uh, stuff like a cat in the tree.
Mm.
Like I never thought I was gonna do that. I knew that was in the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one
It was
day
like a stigma.
yeah. And one day I get a call and they're like, "Hey, there's a cat in the tree and we need you to go." And I'm like, "All right,
No way.
who's joking? Like,
Yeah.
who's messing with us?"
So what kind of cat per se?
I don't know the what do you call
Question was how furry was he? Because
Nah, he
because
wasn't too
doesn't
furry.
okay, so it doesn't
No.
raise the complication of getting
Yeah,
the
I don't
cat
know
out.
what breed he was, but he was on an oak tree. It was actually in Key Largo, Florida,
No way.
and
Okay.
grandma's outside, and then the granddaughter's like, oh, she's crying, and she's like, my cat, he's up there, and I show up on the fire truck, and the chief is there, and
Mhm.
he's like, you never thought you were gonna get this type of call. And I was like, nope. So we set up.
And now, how long were you in the fire department at this point?
I think 7 years now, 8 years. I was a
Wow.
lieutenant. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had my guys with me, my driver, my riding backwards guy, tailboard. So yeah, we did our thing. We pulled out the ladders, went up there. My driver was the one that went up there. He put on the fire gloves with the the jacket, the coat to protect him.
Because they got
They
claws.
got claws, and he went up there, and he actually went up there. The cat came down. He grabbed them, gave it to the little girl, and she was like super happy. I was like, no, we're being punked. No,
This
no,
isn't really happening.
no.
Ashton Kutcher's gonna come out of here somehow, some way. He's
Oh, now
gonna
you're
come out with
dating
like
yourself.
a pig.
Now
Yeah,
you're
I
dating
know,
yourself.
I know,
That's
I
a little
know,
old school.
I know. All of us millennials, man, and our Ashton Kutcher. Come on now. Oh,
You've been
man.
punked.
For all of you Gen Zers out there who have
Yeah.
no idea who Ashton Kutcher is, he was
great guy.
our day and age's Steve Jobs
Yes.
when he was
Yes.
in that movie, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. So that was one of the exciting ones. Another time we had a sperm whale that beached itself, and
No
Noah,
way.
yeah, the NOAA crew called us and said, "Hey, we're at the sanctuary, and
Wow.
there's a sperm whale that beached itself. We need you to help. Check this out. We need you to help put that sperm whale in a U-Haul truck and take him to the
In a U-Haul
in
truck.
a U-Haul truck, and take them down to, I think it was Marathon or something, where they have like this facility for dolphins and
And
all these
whales
and
and
stuff,
yeah.
to try to save them, because apparently, I guess I'm not an expert here, but when the sperm whales, they beach themselves because they're sick, or,
Right.
or they're trying to die.
Oh,
And so they were trying to save this thing. So we did it. We put this huge tarp with handles on it, and we put them into
God,
inside
what an
the,
experience.
I know. And then, but wait, there's more. The news
There's
channel,
more.
the news channel came out, and they're like, they put a microphone right at me.
Oh
They're
no.
like, hey, so tell us about the sperm whale rescue. And I'm like,
And
I'm so embarrassed too. I'm like, this is not the type of job we're supposed to be doing.
this is the point in time where you say no comment.
Yeah. It was like, I didn't save a baby. I didn't pull somebody out of a burning structure.
There wasn't a whale of sperm. I'll just let out the
yeah,
let out the
like,
bad joke.
And I was like, man, what the heck? So I actually had the CD of that interview, and I was like, I don't know, diarrhea of the mouth, and I just said what I had to say, and yeah, so that was the fun and exciting and weird thing of the fire department experience.
Did you do like the Ricky Bobby, like with the whole like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell me what to do
we're just,
here.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna win this race, and nobody can take us. and
Contain us.
whatever Ricky Bobby says.
Whatever Ricky Bobby, yeah. Well, whatever Ricky Bobby says, normally not what we should be saying half the time,
For
other
real.
than shake and bake and.
That's it.
And I tell you what,
But yeah, man, it was a good time, good career. But in the public service, and now with my business, G J Gardner Homes, we're just, we're trying to give back to the community in a sense where we build quality homes, return on investment. Try to and this is just something funny that I came up with, but is make contractors great again, because the horror stories with contractors has been intense.
right?
You get the fly-by-nights, the ones that come in, they pretend they're gonna build something, they get a deposit and then they leave. Right? I mean, how many horror stories have you heard of that being in the banking
Right.
industry? So that's just one
Yeah.
thing that I wanted to kind of like get involved in. My dad was a GC for 40 years. He built shopping centers, residential homes.
So you watch this from a young age.
Yeah. I was on a Kelly tractor real young in my age, just clearing the lot for a home and stuff like that. So, yeah, I jumped on board. I invested into the company, and now that's what I'm doing.
So with you moving here, from Miami to Northeast Florida, from the fire department to, again, I mean, let's just call it what it is. It is a totally different kind of career move. going
8 million people,
yeah,
300,000.
yeah, exactly. Well, on top of that, really when it comes down to is like you're going from being in the fire department, right? And
Mhm.
yes, you grew up with that,
Yeah.
but what was the inspiration to say, this is something I want to do? Like I want to make
Hmm.
changes and, play a big part in the growth in not
Sure.
only this city, but this state, as a whole,
Sure.
in dabbling into construction.
Yeah. Yeah. So, great question because when I was a contractor in Miami, I was always pulling the permits, doing all that side of the contractor side.
Mhm.
I wasn't getting permit runners and stuff like that. I would actually do it myself. I'd go to the client's home, I'd sign the contract with them, and then I'd submit the paperwork to the permitting office. Well, one day I was approached by a building official,
Mm.
a lady, and actually in the town of Palmetto Bay, and she's like, "Hey, Eric, can I bend your ear for a moment?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And she's like, um, "What's wrong with our permitting process?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, well,
Let's open up that can of worms.
how much time you got?" And she's like, "No, because we're trying to figure this out. We want people to
Right.
pull permits. We want people to do the right thing and the legalities." And I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm all for it, right?"
Right.
I think it saves people money when they pull permits instead of try to go the other route. So she wanted me to be a part of her board,
Mm. Wow.
like kind of like a committee, to help them figure out the best, most transparent way to and functional way to pull a permit for contractors. That way, they can encourage the homeowners to do that. So, to answer your other question, it's just I want to help the counties. I want to help the cities. I want to help the clients. All being compliant.
Mm.
Pull these permits the way they should be, do everything right the first time, so that way the clients don't have to go through other issues in the future. And through G J Gardner, our brand, that's super important. We
Right.
want to make sure that everything is done correctly, so that way the client doesn't suffer, because
Right.
that's just one of the things that, I mean, how many times have you heard, man, the city came, they gave me a violation because I
Mm.
didn't pull a permit on this and I didn't know,
And I
and
wish I did.
I wish I would have, because now I got to pay this and this, or the HOA has a lien on my house because I did something that they didn't approve,
Oh
like.
yeah.
So I want to remove all that issue, all that stigmatism
All
away
that
from all that
challenge.
challenge, and be that go-to guy. When
Right.
I was in the fire department, they called me the guy
Mhm.
because I was the go-to. Hey, Eric, who do we use for fencing? Who do we use for roofing? Who do we use for concrete? Like, I was like, oh yeah, use this guy. Oh, how is he? Oh, he's phenomenal. Look at his reviews. He's got 5 stars.
Yeah.
The guy does everything right. He'll answer your phone at midnight if you need him to. And so that's what I want to be. I've learned from other contractors. I've
Mhm.
learned from all the bads and the goods,
Right.
and I want to be that guy that people can just feel comfortable. Call me up, ask me a question, and let me build something for you that's going to be worth your investment.
Mm.
It's going to give you some equity. It's going to help you with hurricanes, hailstorms, all the
Right.
environmental concerns that we have in
And here in
Northeast
Florida,
Florida.
for sure. I
You
mean,
know,
that's a big thing.
yeah, I was 15 during Hurricane Andrew, and I saw all the nightmares.
Man, I was just born during Hurricane Andrew.
Whoa.
Oh, what did I do there? I wanted to kind of circle back with the whole idea of transparency, right?
Hmm.
That whole idea of like so with your business, obviously there are a lot of people within both of our industries that we can say is a lot of things that we see are not always up to code, right?
Yep,
No pun intended,
that's
right?
right.
So, when it comes to transparency and education, like I can clearly see like for what you've gone through and what you've seen, through permitting, right? How important for you during this process is it, and it may sound like an easy question, but again, really think into it, how important it is to be transparent through the process and to also be able to let others have opportunities
Mhm.
for when you are doing the build to be able to say, hey, there's a guy for you that that person is going to do a good job for you. So really two questions,
Yeah,
transparency within the work and then transparency within the network and sending the referral to somebody else.
sure, sure. So transparency is key for us. Number
Right.
one, all of our estimates and everything that we do on the GJ side of things, you as a client would have access to, right? So you get to see progress pictures, you get to see inspection reports. I mean, everything is there. We actually call clients on a weekly basis. So let's say today we sign a contract, the build's taken 6 months to build. You're getting notification from the beginning to the end every week, at least once a week, right? And then you'll have a meeting with us, and then from there, you're meeting with the inspector. Like, who does that, right?
No,
Like, what builder is going to be like, hey, client, come meet the inspector?
Come meet the inspector. The
They
guy
don't
that's going
want
to be
that
doing it.
because they're afraid that the inspector is going to be like, well, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. Well, that's okay for us.
Right.
Challenge accepted. If there's something wrong, we're going to fix it. Because as the client, we got to protect our client.
It's transparency again.
It's
like
super
it's
transparent, right?
just being in front of the client and just making sure that they understand.
Sure, 100%. So, another thing about transparency, especially with our builder portal that we have, you get a username and password, and you can log in from anywhere, right? So if you live in California and you hired me to build you a home, okay, you're going to be able to see everything in real time, to the point where we're going to put a camera on the job site, with a little blue light, so you can see 360 view of the job, what's going on, and then you'll be able to log into the portal and say, okay, what's going on? What issue did they run into? Pictures of of the framing of everything that's going on. So to me, when I signed up with GJ, because as a franchisee, you got to go through this process of vetting process, and you kind of see if it's a fit on both angles.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, this is what everybody's been looking for. A super transparent, builder where you have access to all the information.
And that's incredibly important. I think, like, when it comes to, what you do, right? Like, being able to say, hey, this is what's going on. Like, this is what's going on during this process.
Yeah, not just set it and forget it, and I'll see you in 12 months.
Exactly.
Which happens.
Well, yeah. And here's the reality. I mean, we live in a transactional world right now. Those old traditional values of staying in touch, being one-on-one with somebody, you can never replace that, because guess what? That experience lives with them. And, again, like, touching on that, it's
a relationship,
right?
Okay, it's a long-term relationship.
Right.
I always tell the clients, I'm with you for 10 years at least. Why? Because I give a 10-year warranty. So for the next 10 years, anything that goes wrong, you're going to call me.
Right.
And I'm going to come back out and we're going to fix whatever's wrong. Sometimes, I'm not saying we're a perfect builder. Sometimes things happen, right? But you mentioned transparency, especially with, the subcontractors and all the people that are working there. That's why we do the progress pictures, because the progress pictures gives you that other side to your second question of how transparent are you? We're taking pictures of work that's being done, and that way you can see that, okay, the people that are working for Eric and their team, they're good. Like, look how they're doing it. Look at the lines. Everything is lining up real good.
Exactly.
So that to me is like worth investing into a builder like myself.
Right. And now going into that, like, you've gone from, a long time W-2 job, right? Like, being a part of the police department.
24 years.
24 years. So you've gone 24 years being a not police officer, firefighter.
Easy. No, they're my brothers too.
But no, going from that type of lifestyle, right? I mean, again, guaranteed pay. You have to, you have all these, and now you're going into an environment that, I mean, it could be a little intimidating, a little challenging. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, for some of those W-2 guys that are going out there saying, hey, I can do this. Let me go and try to do this as a 1099 business person. Like, what kind of, like, word of advice would you give? How has it been going for you transitioning from that? How's that been going?
Well, first of all, I'm not Joe Rogan, so. But no, seriously, it's risky. It's a tough decision to make. Some people are like, well, why don't you go and work for another fire department? And I've contemplated it, but I really want to try this out, or should I say I have tried it out here. But when I was contemplating it, back in Miami, and I was thinking about my next move,
right?
And based off my construction experience with my dad and with all my coworkers and stuff, we were like, man, can we make this happen? Now
Mm.
next level, right? For 20 years, I was doing construction. I was doing gutter work. I was doing pavers, artificial turf,
All of this extra stuff.
fencing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did so many different trades in my 20 years as a fireman. Because what do firemen do? They work two other types of jobs. They do other types of trade. I did pressure cleaning. I did so many different things, waterproofing.
And a lot of people don't realize that about firemen.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, people that are the outside looking in,
Mhm.
would look at it from a different perspective. Oh,
That's right.
this is their only job. This is the only
No.
thing that they do.
They do something else.
Yeah.
Most of us do like pool cleaning
Mm,
services, roofing. Not too many plumbers, electricians. Some
mm.
electricians, but very minor stuff, low voltage stuff, right?
Wow.
But like drywall, framing, concrete,
Yeah.
But the other stuff, like painting, roofing, stuff like that. Yeah, I did that. I fell off a roof in Miami.
Are you kidding?
We were putting up shingles and a roof, me and my dad, and I fell into a pool. Thank God.
Yes.
um,
God, it was water.
more on that later. No, but yeah,
Man.
it was like one of those things where I was like, man, but we didn't have harnesses back in the day.
Mm.
OSHA wasn't big, right? You can get away with anything.
Right.
And if you fell, I mean, I don't
Just
think
got back up.
you just got back up. You went to the chiropractor and you were good. Nowadays, it's a different story. There's insurance, there's OSHA, there's violations, there's deaths, unfortunately, and there's
Yeah.
lawsuits.
Exactly.
So I take all that into consideration, and that's where that comes with experience. So, just to answer your question, there's guys that I mentor. Especially the hungry ones, the ones that are willing to go hustle.
Right.
I'm like, hey man, do you got a corporation established? No, come on, I'm gonna help you out. In
That's
5 minutes,
awesome.
I established a corporation for him, and I say, hey man, I know you're not gonna be with me forever,
Mm.
right? You could if you want, but
Yeah.
you're probably gonna end up starting your own company, doing your own thing. I encourage it because that's what I
Right.
did,
Right.
and I was successful at it. You
Yeah.
know, and I always tell them, I said, if there's anything that you should do in order to make your business successful, is to be super honest with your clients.
Mm.
Don't take their money and run. Like really be upfront and say, hey, look, this is what I need from you. This is what I'm going to give you. And that's a good relationship to start. And if you do that, that goes a long way. The referrals intense. I mean, I never
Right.
really had to advertise. I think I advertised on Nextdoor app one time. And then from that moment forward, it was like it spread like wildfire. That one
That's
client,
incredible.
told everybody how I was super nice. I was professional. I did the job the way it was, the scope was, the lines were straight,
Mhm.
all the stuff that people look at.
Right. And that's and again, like, you are the representation of your work, so tell me a little bit about that, like when it comes to like a success story of somebody that you kind of helped through that journey of business ownership, like, guidance, what was, was there anybody specifically that like really stands out to you, like how you were able to kind of help them through that?
Yeah, I've had a couple scenarios,
Okay.
with guys. Some not that great, but
Yeah.
some have been fine. Some have been successful. I think, I mean, I haven't followed up with a couple of them actually.
Okay.
I don't know where they ended up, but I will tell you that, they were successful. They were able to go out on their own and do their thing.
Right.
And
That's good.
from what I hear, because I used to refer them anyways, I'd refer them and say, hey, look, this guy, I kind of helped, get him on his feet.
There's a lot of
He's a lot
potential.
of potential. He's professional. He's good.
Right.
And they, I followed up. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, how'd it go? Oh, he was great. Real good. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but in the middle. So
Yeah.
we were able to do that, and I think that just helping them, just get them off their feet in that sense.
Right.
I do say that they sometimes want to come back. Because it's a
Mm.
little bit too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, business ownership is very challenging. It is very challenging. Touch a little bit
Wait,
on.
did you just say touch me?
No, I did not
Okay.
say that. No.
Touch.
I had
This is the fun part
very-
of the podcast.
so touch a little bit on. Yeah, I lost my train of thought here. You see how this stuff works,
But you know
man?
what that was?
Woo,
the curveball.
curveball. Well,
By the way, the next podcast has to be all fun and no business.
That's exactly the way we want to make it, man. That's it. So actually, you know what? That's actually a really great period of time to change it up a little bit. So tell me a little bit about your interests. Tell me a little bit about like stuff that you like to do outside of all of the business and all the morale and all the talking. Like,
man.
you know, what gets you moving, what gets you going, what helps you reset. Touch a little bit on that.
Well, I mean, I love the beach. I love St. Augustine Beach. I love Flagler Beach. I actually stayed in Flagler Beach a lot before I moved over here.
Really, with your
with my wife and daughters.
Right.
Yeah, we had them last year. Even one year I brought my wife, my daughter. I brought everybody. My mom, my mother-in-law. I mean, we rented an Airbnb there off of A1A, and we had a blast. You know, we loved it. But the beach is huge for me. We go to the beach a lot. You know, drive on the beach. I mean, we're one of the very few places where you can drive on the beach. You know, St. Augustine, Daytona. So yeah, it's just that's one of the
and get a full view too. I mean, like I think it's really cool. Like that. Like I think that's one of the things that's like really underappreciated is the ability, like with Flagler Beach from Ormond, right? From Ormond all the way through St. Augustine.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Like,
so
you can't replace that drive.
Yeah. No, that's it. Listen, I used to take that drive when I first got here from St. Augustine to Daytona because that's where our other office was. And yeah, it was a breath of fresh air. But the other thing that motivates me is community service, giving back. I'm actually part of the Rotary Club of St. Augustine.
Oh, cool.
I'm involved in the B&I group, Success Partners, where we can, refer each other. I've referred for you as well, and you've referred for me, and it's a great team environment. Man, but in my heart, it's the veterans. I want to give back to the veterans. I used to see when I used to work down in Florida Keys. There was a gentleman, he had a sign on US 1, and it would say 22 veterans commit suicide every day. And I'm like, man, I feel like we failed them, and these are folks that, gave us our freedom. So I'm doing a lot of things that I can with them. Even in my business, I'm giving like major discounts and just to get them off their feet, get them a place to live. Especially the homeless ones. St. Johns County is doing a lot. I'm sure Flagler is too, to get these veterans off the street, get them in a place to stay, a warm meal. The ones that are homeless and stuff. But yeah, that's actually one of my goals is to create, maybe even through the building side of building like some place where vets can go and just get off the street. Even just
have a leg up. Have a hand up. Not a hand out, but a leg up.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe even help them get back in the workforce. I just recently got approved through SkillBridge, and they were asking me, hey, can you have a couple guys that are about to be vets, 6 months away from retirement? And I'm like, yeah, bring them in. I'll sit them here. I'll put them through real estate school. I'll show them how to be a project manager, superintendent. We'll bring them out to the job site. We'll show them the trade, just to get them some views on what's next, right? Because after 20, 25 years in the military, or even the 4-year guys, they're like lost, right?
Right.
So, and they just know military. They don't know civilian. And that I kind of feel like the fire department was like that too,
Right. Well, and that was getting my question is kind of like that's where you can relate, right? Like you go so many years doing something, but you don't realize like what other type of things you can do even afterwards.
That's right.
And it's a powerful tool. I really commend you for doing that because helping out the veterans. They do so much for our community. They do so much. They pour their blood, their sweat, their tears.
They left their families.
For years, and they need all the help that they can get.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you for talking about that. That's
absolutely.
It's obviously not always the craziest topic to talk about. But we have a little bit of time left. So I wrote about 6 different things. And it's going to be a 30-second game. Okay, I'm going to give you one word.
Oh my goodness.
And you're going to give me one word right back.
Put me on the spot.
And what that means.
Is my wife going to be able to see this?
She probably will. Yes. All right. So, here we go. The game starts right now. It's going to be 30 seconds
Okay.
on the clock. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's do it. All right. Trucks.
Big wheels.
That was 2 words.
Oh. Lifted.
Lifted. Oh, you like a lifted truck. Construction.
Labor.
Role model.
Military.
Okay. Military.
Freedom.
Nice. Family.
Important.
Integrity.
Super important. That's 2 words.
Uh-huh.
Man. Just number 1, I guess, in my book. the number 1.
Number 1. Miami football.
Horrible.
Oh, man. Sport.
No.
No. Oh,
No.
my gosh.
No.
All right.
If you would have said fishing, I would have said yes.
Okay. Okay. Fishing.
All
There you
day.
go.
Can we go now? We're done.
Character.
Important.
Okay. Well, you passed my 1 minute test. I said it was 30 seconds, but it is 1.
All right.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much. And Eric, how could people reach you if they are looking for their next journey or their next project, in St. Augustine, Flagler, or anywhere?
Yeah.
How do they contact you?
There's multiple ways. One is you can Google us, G J Gardner Homes, St. Augustine. 2 is you can come see us at our office, which is a design center on US 1 and King Street. Just look for that beautiful giraffe called Pip.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't
the
love
giraffe.
Pip?
And he's at the Great Expectations building, which is where our office is. You can go on our website, gjgardner.com, and just make sure you pick our office location, which is St. Augustine. And then you can call us. And that number, which is my personal cell number, is 904-788-2516. Again, 904-788-2516. Oh, and you can also call Vinny, and Vinny will also transfer you to me.
I'm on the transfer service. I normally dial.
It's free.
It's
free. It's free
all
service.
right,
He's
all
not
right.
charging anything.
Yet.
Yes.
Well, Eric, I appreciate you so much for coming on and,
Thanks for the invite, man.
just being a part of it. And I authentically really believe that you have such a great morale that comes with your business, and the things that you stand for are really important in our community as a whole.
Thank you.
And, if you would like to get in touch with Eric, he's given you his number, but of course you can always reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to put
Yes,
you in Mr.
please.
Eric's direction.
Let's collaborate. Let's work together.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of Vinny's Vibe. We're asking you to catch the wave every week. Looks like right now we're keeping it on Fridays, but you can record us on YouTube, Spotify, on Facebook. You can find us on the Flagler Voice app, on their website. And again, just wanted to say thank you again to Eric. And I invite you next week to catch the wave. All right. Thanks, guys.